Hey, cool kids, this is Jeff again. It's been a while since I've done a video, so I thought I would do another one. And this one is actually about something that's kind of pertinent and in the news, um, and something that I happen to know something about, which is the country of Venezuela. So I have two stories. One, friends of mine who were actually missionaries to America from Venezuela before Chavez or before Maduro. Um, Talked about how wonderful Venezuela was. It was a jewel of Latin America. Um, and a friend of mine served in the administration of Venezuela while Chavez was in prison. And the Lord gave him a dream and said, go get the president, get weapons, and get him in a vehicle and out of the country. So my friend woke up, went to the Capitol, got the president and his family, and as they were driving to the airport, gunshots rang out. And then history shows that Hugo Chavez had escaped from prison and took over Venezuela and began to subject the country to the same thing that the Cubans have been subjected to, or even worse. So now let's talk about Nicolas Maduro. So for those of you that are possibly wondering why in the world this is a good thing, well, there's one example of why it's a good thing. I won't go into the strategic reasons for U.S., the oil that they did steal from our country. But here's another example. I was walking through the parking lot of an H-E-B, which is a grocery store chain here in Texas. And people come up to me all the time. The Spirit of God, it lives in me. And so I kind of have an inviting spirit, and people come up but I noticed that this man was approaching me, and he didn't look like a homeless person. In fact, he looked like a businessman or a medical doctor. And he walked up to me as I was walking into the store, and he said, "Excuse me, sir, can I speak to you?" And he had a very heavy Latin accent. And I said, "Sure. What can I do for you?" He said, "Can I talk to you for a moment?" I said, "Of course." So he took me back outside. He said, "I don't even know where to begin." He said, "But I'm a medical doctor." In fact, he is a neonatologist, which is if you don't know, a physician that works with very young babies. And he was a research doctor in Venezuela. And he said that the Maduro regime had come and taken his medical clinic, cleaned out his family's bank accounts, and told his family that they had just 24 hours to get out of the country. It took everything they had. And so this man was here. They were given visas to the United States, but they didn't have any money. And he and his family were staying in an apartment, and it would take him a while to have his credentials from Venezuela verified so that he could begin to work as a doctor in America. And they didn't have any money. And he had gone to different government institutions, and they said, "We don't have any more help for you." He said, "So the only thing I know to do is to ask people that look like they may be kind." And I said, "Well, God, is so good to me." So I asked him a few questions. I used to be a genetics researcher, so I asked him some science questions regarding neonatology, regarding infant genetics, regarding medicine, and he answered them all flawlessly. So if this guy was a charlatan, he had completely fooled me and had a very, very good education. So he didn't have anything. So I was blessed to be able to help him. But it taught me a lesson. I said, "What is it like there in Venezuela now?" He said, "It's horrible." He said, "These thugs and their friends in the drug cartels have taken over the country. And so hardworking people have no chance." And that's what would happen in America, by the way, if the Democrats were in power. They and their friends would be doing well. And that's what they accuse Republicans of. But the truth of the matter is, look at the fruit of what's going on. right? The woman that won the Nobel Prize for Peace from Venezuela praised the actions of the United States. Put Trump aside if you don't like President Trump. Our country did the right thing. They were sending fentanyl and drugs from China into our country. We now know that they were building Shahad drones to kill Ukrainians with. Those of you liberals or Democrats that are pro-Ukraine, well, you should be very angry about the fact that Venezuela was building those drones for Russia. And they had some of the drones have been found to have American weaponry. Where did they get that weaponry? From Joe Biden's disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan and the billions and billions of dollars of American equipment that the Biden administration, Democrats, left behind. So, folks, I just want to let you know this was a good thing. This was a godly thing. We didn't send our soldiers there and kill Maduro and kill his family. No. They were captured and arrested because he's a criminal. The number of people that have died in our country because of drugs that came from Venezuela is staggering. So if you have someone that you know that thinks this is a terrible idea, show them this video. And don't show it to them in anger. Do everything in love. Let them talk about the facts that they may have or the experiences that they may have or the people from Venezuela that they may know who think this was a terrible idea. It's going to be hard for them to find one. But love you. Do all things in love. Share the love of Jesus, regardless of who you are, or who you encounter. It doesn't matter. Remember, every human interaction is precious in the sight of God. Right? Pray for everyone who's a political leader in our nation, regardless of party. Right? Love you. Be blessed.